Are you a high-achieving dental entrepreneur frustrated by the gap between where you are and where you want to go? Are you tired of advisors whose advice keeps you merely surviving when you should be thriving? I'm Tim McNeely, and I believe you deserve to build true wealth so you can take even better care of the people you love, the causes you care about, and leave your dent in the universe. Welcome to the Dental Wealth Nation Show, where we hand you the keys to unlock true wealth quicker and with less effort than you ever thought. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Dental Wealth Nation Show. And I don't know about you, but it seems like everywhere I turn today, there's AI, right? There's AI in my phone. There's AI on my internet. There's AI in my conversations. I even talk to AI sometimes. It's crazy. So it has absolutely invaded everywhere. But I want to ask you a question. How is AI helping your marketing? How is AI helping you grow your practice? How is AI helping you get new patients? How is AI helping you grow the EBITDA of your practice? Have you even thought about that? Well, that's why I'm so excited to be here today with Michael Gleed. He is the founder of Wailea Direct, which is a marketing company using a lot of AI. And that's exactly what we're going to be diving in today is how you can use AI to grow and in position your practice even stronger in today's marketplace. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Oh man, right. AI, it seems like it's everywhere today. Well, what's going on?
AI really is everywhere. It's one of those things that, sometimes people get a little bit scared about. They're wondering, is it going to take over? And so it's one of those things, though, that can also help your practice. It can help your business. It's amazing. I mean, I had a call this morning. This is just random, but one of my appointments that I had scheduled for yesterday called and said, hey, I need to reschedule my appointment. And I didn't touch anything. I didn't speak with this particular dentist. My AI actually took care and rescheduled them for me, put it on my calendar, and now I'm set.
That's amazing. And so, right, it's so much power with AI. But before we dive into that, we're going to save all that good stuff for just a little bit. Like, what do you see going on with dental practices today? Are they gaining new patients? Are they losing patients? Like, just give me an overall lay of the land, right? What practices are doing well? Which ones are struggling?
It's interesting being in the dental field for over 8 years, going on 9 years, working with dentists, seeing how they operate, what they do with marketing, with their practice, et cetera. What I've found is, I get told a lot, hey, I went to dental school to be a dentist. Running the practice and doing all the marketing, I'm just not as good at. And so, being able to juggle both running a dental practice, seeing patients, and marketing just becomes very difficult. And so that's where kind of AI comes in to help out.
Interesting. So, right, what are some common issues that you see dental practices struggling with today? Are they missing calls? Are they losing website leads? Right, like what happens when things come in after hours? How are dental practices dealing with those issues and challenges that are happening today?
Well, Tim, they're not. And that's the cold hard facts. So if you look at a dental practice, if they go to lunch, and what are they going to do with their phones? Typically, they send them to a voicemail if they don't have a service that answers them for them. When they close the doors at night, they go home, have dinner with their family. What do they do with their phones? Well, they send it to voicemail. Let's talk about the website. So on the website, visitors come in maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock at night when they have time to actually browse the net, and they get to a website looking for answers. They're looking for answers to their dental problems. Do you take insurance? How much does a dental implant cost, et cetera, et cetera. If they don't get their answers soon, I mean, we live in a day where everybody wants answers instantly, right? If they don't get their answers soon, they are off to the next competitor. And Google even says, hey, your website visitors, they last on your website between 13 seconds and 1:20 seconds. So if you can't hook their attention quickly, they're off to your competitor.
Yeah, no, this is so true. I've been reading a book by one of my favorite authors, John Elridge, and he talks about how, today we are disciples of the internet. And you're probably thinking, wait, how am I a disciple of the internet, right? I don't, like, what, how have I been taught by the internet? But you just hit on it, Michael, right? We expect things immediately, We expect answers to whatever question you want. Like we should be able to pull it up right now. And if I call my doctor and I want an appointment, I want it right now. I don't want to wait.
Right.
And so, right, so that response time, right, because that's what we've been taught and trained to do is immediacy. And so what typically happens if someone's not getting back to a patient right away? Are those patients going to another practice, or is there some loyalty issues? Like is this really a big problem?
Well, if we're talking new patients, right, somebody who may not be as familiar with that dental practice, typically they are going to the next competitor, right? Again, if they go to a website after hours, they have a question. If they don't see that or find that on a dental website, they're going to go to the competitors to see if it's easier to find. And let's face it, on dental websites, you have a lot of pages. I mean, there's a lot to look through to be able to find that answer. And what if a patient calls at, a dental practice closes at 5:00? What if a patient calls at 5:14? It's going to be voicemail. Well, maybe the dentist down the street is open till 6:00. So we want to be able to capture those missed opportunities. Those are missed opportunities. And if we can't capture them and have a conversation with them, even if it's not us, then we're going to miss on opportunities. So that's what it boils down to, is what are the opportunities we're missing and what is it costing us? I mean, we're on Dental Wealth Nation. We're about helping dentists build their wealth. And it's not working harder, it's working smarter.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so how are you helping practices close this gap and really respond quicker and make sure they're not missing the opportunities for all the marketing that they've paid for, right? How are you really helping them close that gap?
So there are two scenarios. So you have a dentist who's actually paying to do marketing and a dentist that's hoping that somebody will find them online. And so if we start off and just say, okay, well, how am I helping dentists who maybe they aren't at this moment paying Google or paying Facebook or Instagram for ads? How are we helping them? And we think more organically. And so we think search engine optimization, or otherwise known as SEO. With SEO, it's organic traffic, which is really the better type of traffic that you want. These are people that are actually up searching for a solution to their problem, right? And so they get on Google, they get on Bing, they get on these search engines, they type in, who's the best dentist in town? Where is the best implant specialist in town? And so that's where SEO comes in, and that's where we absolutely just sparkle. But we use AI for this. So using AI, we're able to real time look at a website, manage a website on a daily basis, and see what is wrong, right? Like what's not meshing with the Google algorithm, and how can we fix that? And using AI is amazing, because what happens is because you're working in real time, you're able to look at the problems, fix the problems, get the right information out to the Google algorithm to rank faster and bring in more clients. I think it's like 23% of website browsers, right? So somebody online looking up dentist in a certain town, like 25% of them click the very first link. They click the very first link. So if we're not on the first page of Google, the question is are you going to get found?
Wow.
And even on page 2, 3, 4, if you're past page 4, the thought that somebody's going down that far is fading, right? People just don't typically go down that far. So SEO and getting found with this organic traffic is going to be very important. You want to be on that first page of Google, and ultimately you want to be in the Google 3-pack in the maps.
Yeah. Well, and I just had a thought here, right? We're talking about AI, we're talking about the future, we're talking about where things are going, and I know in some circles there's chatter about, right, does Google even matter anymore? And so how much does Google still matter for the traffic that we're getting to our practices?
That's an interesting question, because now they're, with all of the open AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, with all of these AI systems that are out there, they're saying, well, they're going to go to ChatGPT to now find that. The question is, where do you think ChatGPT gets their information? They get their information online, and they're not looking at the dentists that are on page 10, right? They're looking at the ones that are relevant, which are going to be on page 1. And so ultimately, yeah, it matters. And there's a way to work with those systems. But ultimately, SEO has not gone away and is still very vibrant right now.
Okay, so it's really valuable because that's what's feeding all the chat engines that are out there. That's what's feeding your Chat GPT and your
Right.
Gemini and the Claudes of the world. Is it really is the internet. So it still is important to be doing the SEO. That's not disappearing anytime soon. But the way we consume it and it gets to us is certainly changing.
100%. And if you think about this, when we talk organic traffic opposed to paid traffic, so if I'm paying Google for those paid per click ads, what happens when I stop paying for those ads? They turn off.
Yeah.
With organic traffic and what we do with SEO, it's more like content marketing on steroids. And so, you're putting out all this marketing with the help of AI to flood the market. And so it covers all the questions that the people are asking about a certain treatment, about dentists, whatever the case is. And we're able to answer those questions in a relevant way to get our rankings boosted. And that traffic and that content stays. It doesn't go away. So if you turn it off, if you turn it like if you hired us to do something like this, and you say, listen, Mike, I think I'm good right now. That doesn't mean you're going to stay at the top of Google, but what it does mean is all of the work that we did stays with you. So it doesn't just turn off.
Oh, fantastic. How powerful. So we've been talking a little bit about the SEO, right? The getting found on Google. But once someone comes to your practice and they start engaging with your website, how do you get back to them quickly? Do I have to hire more people? Do I need more team members? Is there a technology fix for this somewhere and a way that we can actually get back to people quickly?
100%. So your choices are voicemail if they want to call, current chat widgets, which the person gives their name, their phone number, their email, and then the team gets a hold of them the next day. Or you can work with AI and say, hey, let's have a conversation right now. What's your question? So whether they're going to call you on the phone, whether they're going to chat with you on your website, or whether they want to send you a text, you're able to answer those real world questions in real time.
Interesting. How fascinating. And so are these widgets that get plugged just into your website, or are they also connecting to things like your practice management software so that you can start actually scheduling appointments for new patients?
It's all of the above. I mean, AI is so supreme right now where, you plug it into the website, you put the phone numbers out there for people to call, but it can also plug into patient management systems.
Wow, how powerful. So are these things hard to integrate into your practices? What's the process for getting something like this set up?
That's a great question. So the process just to set it up is very simple on the dentist end, right? So essentially, we have to train the AI to be a certain way, to be custom for each particular practice. And so we go through a series of questions and answers. And once we have all that information, we train the AI ourselves. So for the dentist, it's filling out a questionnaire. And so we'll train the AI. It takes us about a week to 2 weeks to train the AI. But then once it's trained, we implement it. There's a little bit more training that goes on after it's live and implemented and people are calling and texting and doing all this. There's a little bit more to customize it to get a particular for each practice, the way that the doctor would say things. And so, but after that, it really runs on autopilot. So, the doctor leaves at 5 o'clock. They want to go to dinner with their family. What's happening with their business? It's it's able to continue to move along and grow.
Wow, how powerful. And what are some results that you've been able to actually see from practices who are using this kind of an AI setup in terms of their booked appointments or patient satisfaction or overall growth of the practice?
So that's an interesting question, just because with current patients, it's a lot more helpful. So again, they call after hours. Hey, I need to change my appointment, or, I can't remember if you take my insurance, or I need to schedule an appointment. The AI takes care of all that work. So the patient goes away, hey, I just got taken care of. It's after hours. This is amazing. For new patients as well, I get my questions answered immediately. I can decide right then and there if I want to book an appointment or go to my competitor. For website visitors, we're seeing about an 18% increase in conversions.
Wow.
And that's only going to get better. But yeah, we're seeing some great results from the use of AI.
Oh, that's incredible. And so I want to kind of come back to that SEO piece a little. So,
Yeah.
right, it's always been kind of a little bit of a slow game, or at least in my mind, right? The SEO takes a while. So does
Right.
AI change that, and does it help actually speed up that process any?
Absolutely. So traditional SEO, our agency included, right? I would tell clients, look, traditional SEO is going to take you, or it's going to take us, 5 to 6 months to really start seeing some great results. And that's because of different things. But using AI, being able to monitor and optimize on a daily basis, also using the content marketing system that we use with SEO, it actually can cut that time nearly in half.
Incredible.
So
Wow.
yeah, it just is a great machine to really align with the Google algorithm. And the Google algorithm changes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be ready for that change, and we have to pivot when it does change. And AI works right along with that. It's amazing.
Wow, how incredible! What amazing tools! And so, is there a process a doctor should really kind of start through with thinking through how to add AI tools? Right? Is it an all or nothing? Can they start with something like how do you even start analyzing like what's appropriate for your practice?
Right. Well, the doctor should really just take inventory on where they're at. Are they marketing? What holes do they have? What are they doing with their phones when they leave the office? What happens with their phones on weekends, on holidays? What happens if somebody on a weekend has an emergency, need? Where do the phones go? Are they just getting a voicemail? What's happening? So it really just is, hey, let's take an inventory on where we're at. Then the doctor can look around at their schedule and say, hey, can I fill some spots here? Am I able to grow? And if they're able to grow, really integrating the AI piece, it becomes one of those things that you need to just take a look at and say, am I going to save money? Do I need to go out and hire somebody? Or because you need to work smarter, not harder. And when we talk about money, am I going to pay somebody $45,000 a year, or am I going to look for something that's going to be more manageable?
Wow, incredible. How neat. So, right, you've certainly worked with a lot of very, early adopters out there, some competitive practices. How do you see AI really giving people in their local markets even more of a competitive advantage?
Well, if you look at first adapters, right? So just with the patient, the way that patients might look at this might be, hey, you're getting into the new technology that's going to be beneficial for me. I mean, it's benefiting the doctor for sure, but ultimately the doctor's goal is the patient. Like, how can we benefit the patient? And when a patient looks at all the competitors that are in a local area, they're going to take that into consideration. Now, also in a local area, if you're not found in that local area, or you're buried on page 10, 11, 12, you're basically invisible. So it's really getting to the front of the page. It's, when they come to your website or when they make a call after they find you, are you taking care of them? Or are they a lost opportunity because, hey, we couldn't answer the call, we were to lunch, it was a weekend, or whatever the case is. But being present in your local community, being found, and then taking care of those patients and new leads that are coming in is very important.
Wow. Well, hey, we've been talking with Michael here of Wailea Direct, a marketing company. We're diving deep into AI and some of the efficiencies that you can get, and I'm excited about this next part. So hang on, because we're going to give you some additional tips and strategies on how to plug AI into your practice, get more patients, and continue to have an impact. We'll be right back here.
You're listening to the Dental Wealth Nation Show, where we give you the keys to building true wealth. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with the friends you care about. Ready to level up? Grab a copy of my #1 best-selling book, Dental Wealth Nation, and unlock the secrets of building true wealth today.
So, Michael, in my work as a certified exit planning advisor, we're often looking at the practice valuation, right? And we're trying to drive efficiencies for the front desk, for the staff. We're trying to reduce costs. We're trying to grow the top line and shrink the bottom line. And so, ROI is a really important thing that we're always looking at and trying to increase the valuations of the practices. So how do AI tools, how do they really start helping drive the value of a practice for someone who may be looking to exit in the next 2, 5, 10 years or so? What are some things that we should be thinking about if we're looking to exit in the next couple of years?
Well, if they're looking to exit, what's going to bring in a better valuation on the practice? It's going to be a couple things, right? It's going to be, are the current patients happy with what's going on? Are patients leaving? Are they staying? What's happening with the current surroundings of the practice is going to be a good thing to look at. So if the patients are happy with the communication, that's huge. Number two is going to be bringing in new business. And how do you bring in new business? Well, it's being found. Number one, it's being able to communicate and not miss those opportunities from people calling in and having a question or wanting to schedule an appointment. It's going to be not missing the opportunities of somebody coming to their website late at night who need those questions answered. So we want to plug those holes, and we want to make the missed opportunities more into captured new business.
Wow. Right. And oftentimes, right, the practice can pick up efficiencies and actually reduce cost of, what do you see happen to the cost of acquisition per patient for practices using AI systems like what you're talking about?
We can see the cost of acquisition of new patients coming down. And again, it's the AI, our AI system is meant to complement what they're already doing. It's going to be like taking your star front office person and being a complement to them. It's not going out and hiring another one. We want to lower the cost of the idea of having to hire, because we all know that it's hard to hire right now in the dental field, whether it's front office, assistants, hygienists, whatever the case is. So we want to be able to have that alternative that will work 24/7, right? Because people have to take breaks. AI doesn't. AI is happy to work 24/7.
Wow, amazing. So I want you to put on your kind of, your future glasses here and just dream with me a little bit. But where do you really see kind of dental and AI marketing heading over the next, 3 to 5 years? What do you think is going to separate the winners from the laggards?
That's a great question. I'd want to think about that, but I really believe, I've been in business for over 30 years with various businesses. And what I've found to really be advantageous for my business is kind of that first to market idea. McDonald's was first to market, but then you had all of these other burger companies that came along. For dentists who get on, or who are early adopters into AI and really make it a part of their business, that goes along and again, complements what they're already doing, their team that they already have. These early adopters seem to win more. And what happens there is, the dentist down the street is like, oh man, they're doing this. And they start, am I missing on something? Or patients, they start to look around and they're like, this is very interesting. I just went to their website and it just said, hey, you can call or text me 24/7 and my AI assistant's going to take care of you. We're going to answer any question that you have.
Yeah.
People start to understand that that dental practice is on top of technology and they can take care of them.
Wow. Very, very interesting. And what would you say to the doctor out there who's, really kind of stuck in the old school ways and they're just saying, well, I don't know that I need any of this stuff. Well, what advice would you have for that practice and that doctor?
Good question. Let's look at Blockbuster. Blockbuster didn't think that they ever had to change. They had the monopoly on what was happening with home movies. Like, hey, let's go rent. My wife and I have been married for over 30 years, and we remember Blockbuster. Maybe the kids nowadays don't remember what it was like, but we'd go on date night and we'd go down to Blockbuster and we'd rent a couple movies, take them back home, and that was date night. Not really paying attention and adapting to what's happening with technology. It just means your competitors will, or they may, right? And if the competitors go out there and they get that leading advantage, what's going to happen with their dental practice? It doesn't mean it's going to go away, right? But a competitor may have the advantage over them.
Yeah.
And so we want to take a look at history. We want to take a look at, what's happening. But we do live in a time and day, again, where, people want answers now.
Yeah.
And then to make a decision, 80% of people, they start their searches online.
Well, right. I even think back to the day, and I'm just old enough to remember this transition that happened between film technology and film X-rays versus digital X-rays, and
Right.
and you'd be hard pressed to find a practice still using film today, right? Everyone, for the most part, has moved to digital X-rays, and so looking forward, do you think AI is eventually going to be just as essential to a practice's success, like things like digital X-rays and online bookings once were?
I do. I just think that with artificial intelligence, with how it can help a dental practice with, a lot of these things that we've been talking about, I think that you're going to see, practices really taking advantage of AI and wanting to implement it in their practice.
Yeah. Well, and even with that AI piece, one of the questions I have for you is, right, I think so often we hear the words AI and we just imagine, these bots going out and doing everything. So
Right.
what role does the human still play in implementing AI into a practice?
In the implementation?
Yeah, or in the use of these tools.
So, that, again, great question. It's meant to be, for what we're doing, it's meant to be complementary. So working alongside, and if we're talking a dental practice, again, dental practices can be extremely busy. You have your front office helping out, you have assistants. There's not always time to answer phones. If you're marketing, you're paying money to Facebook, Instagram, these types of things. It also gets very expensive to answer the ads on all these. And so with AI, it will work alongside the team. Hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take this call. It's from our Instagram ad. Let me be the salesperson for this while you're helping Mrs. Jones, get situated with her paperwork and everything. I've got this call. We're working together, and the AI can then take over. And instead of just saying, "Hey, glad you called. When would you like to come in?" It could actually be their sales agent, like an actual sales agent. And nobody likes to hear the word sales, right? Like a salesperson. But the AI can actually come in and help move the new patient caller from the top of funnel to the bottom of funnel to actually get them in the chair. And so we want to train the AIs to be more, to be very personable, but to help get the patient from that top of funnel to the bottom of funnel to sit into the chair and become a new patient.
Yeah. Now, you just mentioned something that maybe our listeners didn't pick up on, but I think is so important. You just talked about training the AI. Well, what does that even mean?
So each practice is different. And so we customize and train the AI by, it's all boring stuff, right? It's just, we get back there, we have techs that will do it, and they give the AI a lot of information to digest and then put together.
Information about what? And what kind of information are they giving the AI?
So in this case, like talking about a dental practice, they're going to be able to understand every in and out of that particular dental practice to be able to be the voice as if it were the doctor speaking.
Okay, so you're going to give the AI maybe a brand guide that this dental practice has, and maybe you're going to give it something about like, hey, here's how we like to greet our patients, and here's the verbiage we like to use. So you're going to train the AI with all the data that exists on the practice, is what I'm hearing.
Correct. So it goes everything from, hey, are you new to our practice? Okay, well, for new patients, for new leads, it's going to be trained on this. For existing patients, it's going to be trained on this. For emergencies, it's going to be trained. For, I need to cancel a call, I need to cancel an appointment, it's going to be trained. So every different facet of a dental practice, all those different buckets that come in, we train the AI for that practice. It's very custom for the way the brand voice that the doctor wants it to be.
Okay, so
it can answer any question about dental. I mean, that's the easy part. But how do you get the AI to have the brand voice of that dental practice?
Okay, right, and that's what I wanted to touch on, because I think that's one of the powerful things about AI. In fact, some of the services and coaches and consultants I have now, they've actually built custom AI. So it's like I'm actually interacting with that person, getting marketing advice for them, or even my AI. It's been trained enough where I ask, I'm like, what would I say about this? And it comes back, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty close to what I would say. Because it knows me, it knows how I talk,
Right.
it knows how I speak. And it sounds like the same is true for someone's dental practice, is these AIs actually will get smarter over time, and they'll continue to really reinforce your brand values and what's important to you, or even the local community that you're part of. So these really are bespoke solutions built for the practices, is what I'm hearing.
Right. And we're talking very surface level right now, right? We're talking about new leads coming in. We're talking about the AI speaking with existing patients and all that. But it goes even further. I mean, AI can get into lead follow-up, patient follow-up. And it can have that brand voice where every email that goes out is branded and spoken in that certain brand voice. So the patients have a consistent tone or speech or whatever, however you would say that.
Yeah. Wow. No, it's just absolutely amazing what the
Yeah.
possibilities are. So, Michael, you and I have been talking about AI. We've been talking about just the ability to follow up quickly with people and
Right.
make sure we're not missing out on the leads and phone calls that are coming into the practice. You and I have been talking about the SEO and the optimization and how AI can really accelerate that even quicker. Is there anything else we should touch on briefly before we get ready to sign off here in the next couple minutes?
Well, let's just touch on one other quick thing, which is follow-up, right? So there are a couple different ways that you can follow up. Now, one way is going to be, okay, well, we just received a notification. Mr. Smith wants an appointment for, August 13th at 4:00. Great. What about those leads that don't come through, right? Marketing is marketing, and you're going to get a percentage of leads that are just like, yes, I'm interested, but then they ghost you, or you can't get a hold of them. What do you do with those leads? And our AI system can actually automatically follow up with them on a schedule. And that could be text, that could be email, that can be, phone calls, right? We can actually call out and say, hey, look, you were looking to sign up for an appointment at this day, but we didn't hear back from you. What's going on? How can we help you?
Yeah.
So the follow-up is another piece that we're really not getting into right now. But again, if the office is super busy and they need help even with follow-up, that's another pain point of a lot of dentists, is the time to follow up on leads. They just get very busy during the day, and it's, okay, well, we had 5 new leads come in. I will get to those here when I can, or I'll have my assistants get to those when they can, right? And then sometimes they get forgotten and they don't get followed up on. And what's happening with those opportunities?
Wow. So that follow-up is huge. And once again, that's something that the AI can really help assist with to grow top-line revenues in the practice.
100%. So think about it like this: if I send out a text that to a prospect who came in and kind of ghosted, and we send out a series of texts and they text back, the AI is then able to pick up that conversation. Now the doctor is still, doing a dental implant, doing a clean, whatever the case is. He doesn't even know this is happening in the background, and the AI is now scheduling an appointment.
Wow.
Another just really powerful thing, Tim, and I know we're short on time. What about reactivation of past patients that, for some reason they went to a different dental practice? Those opportunities are great to put into a reactivation campaign. And the AI can take care of all that, whether it be email, text, whatever the case is. They can actually take care of that for them in a reactivation campaign.
Wow. So we're not just the follow-up, but also the reactivation. So if you've got a patient base and you're saying, man, right, no one's really reached out to these people in a while, this is something that AI can help do.
100%. I have a client that we're just starting to work with, and their inactive patient base is over 1,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow.
And so we're putting together a reactivation campaign for this doctor, and we're going to be launching it here shortly.
Right. The value of that is huge, right? And the beautiful thing that you touched on earlier is AI is going to do this without complaining too, isn't it?
What do you mean I have to reach out to 1,000 people? Oh yes, sir. Let me go ahead and take care of that for you right now.
Wow, absolutely amazing. So, how can we get in touch with you? Are there any resources that you'd like to share with our audience so that they can learn more about this, or even consider it and do that analysis like you were talking about, just figuring out where they are now? How do we get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So my website is WaileaDirectMarketing.com. So you're more than happy to go onto our website. We have some AI orbs on there that you can kind of even play around with it. If you want to really see what it's like, I'd love to, just sit down with you. We get on a Zoom call. I give you a quick example, get to know your practice, what it would look like with your practice. You can also call me. My phone, is it okay to give out my number?
Of course, 100%.
Okay. So you can call me at 949-943-3374. Let me give that to you one more time. It's 949-943-3374. And, we basically would get together, 15, 20 minutes. I'd find out a little bit about your practice. I'd show you what the AI can do. And if it's a good fit, great. If it's not, no worries.
Wow. Well, hey, thank you so much for that generous offer. I'd encourage you to take advantage of that, right? If your practice isn't caught up, if you're not using cutting edge stuff, the person next to you is. And I don't want that to happen to you. If you're listening to this, we want you to build that amazing practice. We want you to build that amazing life of significance. And I want you to really push your success further and do it quicker with less effort than you ever thought. And so, Michael, any closing thoughts before we sign off here?
I'm grateful to be here. I love, the way that our business works is really, it's all about your success, and we're data driven. We're success driven. We're just excited to be able to help dentists grow, prosper, and build the wealth that Dental Wealth Nation is preaching. And so just absolutely thrilled to be on this podcast. And, we're just here to help.
Oh, excellent. No, you've been a great guest. We've enjoyed having you here on the Dental Wealth Nation show. Thank you for sharing so generously with everyone. And please get out there, listen to this, learn it, and do that evaluation. Figure out if this has a space in your practice, and because you want to improve that patient experience. So, Michael, thank you again just for sharing so generously with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
And we'll see you all again here soon on the Dental Wealth Nation show.
That's a wrap on today's Dental Wealth Nation show. If you've loved today's insight, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share the wealth with your dental friends. I'm Tim McNeely, and remember, your amazing life of significance is just one smart decision away. Keep thriving, and catch you next time on the Dental Wealth Nation show.